So I definitely want to talk a bit about Live and Let Die. But before that, I did promise that I would go ahead and take a look at Zid's play. Kind of discuss this player. It also gives us a chance to introduce some of the people from the Delmarva scene, which I actually think is worth doing. Okay, so here we have Zid and Jerry. So Zidiane is currently on a team of Cooler, Goku, Android 16. He was trying this team out for a while. He pivoted off of a team consisting with Gotenks. He is making moves to go back towards that team, but he wanted to try out Cooler for a little bit. This was a team that Jerry ran for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. Jerry is the strongest player in the Delmarva area, hands down. I don't think anybody would argue that point with me because of just how dominant he is as a player. So this was him actually running Majin Buu, Gotenks, and Vegeta. The reason for this comp was specifically to enable Majin Buu to be able to get restands off both his assists. So he's really trying to maximize how much utility he's getting out of these assists when it comes to enabling Majin Buu to be degenerate. All right, but we're mainly going to be focused on Zid for this. So part of what we're going to be looking at is how he's playing, his movement, and we're going to break down this match and then go from there. All right, see, if you let the intros rock, I'm 100% more likely to watch your video, mainly because it's... Oh, you found it, Kupu? Thank you, my man. I definitely want to take a look at those leg loops. I'm actually really interested to see what they look like. Oh, man. I can't listen to my own voice. It's beautiful. All right. So round start here. Jerry's just going to go ahead and snare dash backwards. Zid's going to take an aggressive stance. Try to go in for a head. Oof. And he's gonna catch Jerry. So this was really, really smart. Kind of stepped in, took the initiative, beat out a defensive option. Would have lost to something like potentially Super Dash. Kupu, this is actually a good question for you. Does Cooler's jab beat out Super Dash consistently? Does his count as an anti-air jab, or is it only kind of? Because I have not had enough Cooler experience to really break down the character as much as I would like to. But this was really smart. Steps in. He's actually going to drop it, though. And Jerry's going to do the Sonic Fox standby, down tech buttons. Right there, goes in for a low. If you're Zid right here, you got to block this. So the reset. This dash in right here. Jerry is known for resetting. And this was just one of those things you have to block. Nice pickup. Bop, bop, bop. And then obviously sit on him. And so right here, we already see why this comp is so good for Majin Buu. He has 2 different assists he can restand off of, which is absolutely massive in terms of getting the most out of this character. So Zid's going to get grabbed. Jerry's going to go ahead, instant air dash in forward. Nice defense here from Zid. You know, you see Majin Buu, he hits the air dashes. You're still standing block because Majin Buu doesn't really have any cheap ways to get to the ground. But now that he's here, this was a great challenge. So for those of you that don't know, Majin Buu's standing medium is actually an overhead. Gonna drop another combo, but you know what? American resets, baby. Make them happen. Drop them. Boom. All right, so he tries to meaty right here. Delay tech from Jerry. This was smart. He doesn't know exactly what Zid wants to do on incoming, but he doesn't want to fuck around and find out. So he waits. And nice guard tag, but also nice block. He didn't just get blown back. He gets to keep his pressure. Right here, though, Zid is not watching the scenario. The way this shows, he throws out this 2M, and now he immediately needs to pivot into a block, and instead he's going to get falling buttons. Falling heavy the game. So bop, bop, bop. Drops him, sets up ghosts. Into Vegeta. And this is really nice. So with Vegeta, because of how long ghosts last, you can actually get a double super in. Very, very nice. Off round start. This time Zid, he's behind. He's going to take a defensive posture. Jerry's actually just going to super jump straight up. This is a good position to be in as Vegeta. You can kind of sprinkle with Ki Blast. Gives you a lot of different options. Very, very nice. Right there. Awesome pickup from Zid. This was really, really strong. Goes into the Kaioken. Opts to end it early. Tries to set up his auto combo on Wake Up, but he actually misses the timing right here. So here you go. Nice. Keep his pressure on. And right here, I don't necessarily like this pressure from Zid. Primarily because he's going low, low, and then Jerry's just vanishing out for free. So part of the issue is when you're only throwing lows right there, your opponent, you're just kind of giving them a free way out. So I don't know. I don't fully agree with that. That was a nice tick throw. So Jerry gets a tick throw. Base Goku's going to take some damage. Puts him down. Sets up Ghost. So right here, he's going to actually eat the first Ghost. Do not eat Ghosts. All right? Unless you're fucking Pac-Man with the blue pill power-up. Do not eat Ghosts. They do a lot of damage. So Zid's going to take the first one. Now, right here, what Zid should have done is actually called 16. So in this situation, Zid, if you had called 16, it would have actually eaten all 4 of the Ghost, and now you would be out of pressure, and you could kind of step in and challenge Gotenks. Unfortunately, you get hit by this first one, and you're going to tech. But now, Gotenks is on top of you, you're stuck in the corner, and he still has 3 Ghosts he can delay for different timings. So now you've put yourself in a really disadvantageous position because you got hit by that first Ghost, and now it's too late to call 16 because he's already on top of you. So right there, you're going to try a jump. Jerry wants to start putting you in block to get the setup. I agree with the jump right here. I think this was smart. You want to avoid getting put in block. But now you're kind of stuck because you're going to get dragged down. Jerry throws out the mock punches, wants to keep you in place. And right there, he's going to find the pickup. He's going to drop it right here, which was fortunate. But this was such a dangerous situation. So in this particular case, once you've got this Ghost set up here, this is just unfortunate. Like, for you, you might have, it would have been super duper bold. I don't think I would have done it. You could have potentially tried a Dragon Rush, but I think you're just kind of stuck here. I think you just have to focus on blocking, but be careful with the chicken blocking, especially with Ghost Oki. It's not a bad option, but you don't want to over-rely on it. So right here, nice guard cancel. That was clean. So Gotenks actually misses his Ki Blast right here, so you're free to act. And you're going to go for a 2H. Unfortunately, you kind of missed it. I know it probably wouldn't have been your favorite thing in the world, but right there, if you had just super dashed, you would have gotten the pickup, and I think that would have been worth it. So right there, Gotenks going to go ahead. Nice pickup. Punish this 2H. Jerry's actually not going to cover it. Being a little stingy with his assist calls right here. I disagree with that. You get your extension, and you're going to go ahead and set up corner pressure. This is fine. Now, this is actually an interesting juncture right here because you have a choice, right? So when you get the snap, you get the grab. You can either snap in what would probably be Vegeta or Majin Buu, or you can go ahead, you can take this level 3. I think I agree with your decision to take the level 3 right here because I think Gotenks is a very frustrating part of this team. So I think that is something you want to get rid of. However, I do wish that, I don't know, this is a really tough decision. I'd have to think more about whether or not I like this snap. Or decision not to snap, basically. Anyway, hits you with the base boosted cannons. Big damage. And what's your mix? You're going to go for 6M the God. I respect this. But Jerry, he decides, I want to keep this character. So nice trade. Alright, right there. Nice falling button. Gotenks going to get blown up for it. Cash into another level 3. Now you're in a great situation. You're still down a character, but you've got mid-stage Oki, a lot of health, and you still have sparking. So you wasted that sparking perfectly. One combo, and you were able to get Gotenks back in pressure. So right here, so let me break this down real quick. Goes for the cross, you call. So right here, your timing was just a little bit off. He wasn't in block yet, so he was able to kind of eke out an assist call right here. So had your meaty timing been better, he wouldn't have gotten this assist call out, and you would have been in a much better spot. Yeah, I think you're even got a little bit unlucky that base Goku didn't get this pickup. So, unfortunately, because that happens, you're going to get picked up here. Now, if that happens and you see the Super Saiyan Vegeta, you either need to commit to the Super Dash, which was bad because Jerry's down crouching and he's just going to 2H you, or you need to back off and give up pressure, which sucks. But because you let this assist call through, you've only now compounded your mistake by trying to force pressure. So it's kind of a twofold problem. Jerry's going to go for a conversion, going to miss. And right there, this was super fortuitous. So, sequence once again. So you're going to get the clash right there. And he's actually going to clash up here. You're going to start going low. And that's just going to give you the pickup. So because you went low with that 2L, it actually kind of kept you safe. So, smart stuff. All right, right here. This was just a good bait. So as soon as he super dashed on shield right here. So round start. He's going to go ahead, throw out the heavy punch. You kind of you jump up. You're like, I want to put pressure. Jerry's like, no, don't want it. He super dashes you. And then you immediately go for this anti-air jab option, which was really smart. But he knew that was coming. So he immediately was queuing this up the second he backdashed, because he was predicting you to go ahead and try to anti-air jab him. Gets the pickup, steps in. Hits you with the butt slam. And he still has the restand because he has access to this. And once again, good defense. You block the putty setup. So right here, once again, this backdash into Giant Hand, I think this is just matchup experience, but you just keep getting picked up. Right there, this move is really slow, but it's really scary. So he goes ahead, he jabs you once, and this doesn't connect. This is not a combo. He just standing overheads you. And he gets you with that counter hit. So I don't know what button you were trying to press, probably light, but that ends up being quite costly because now sets you up in the corner, gets the putty throw. He takes the Dragon Rush, not a mix-up. That's true. And now he cashes out. So that sequence, I don't fault you too much, but you need to be aware. This is, so far, what I'm seeing is you're just not having character knowledge when it comes to Majin Buu. Whether it's the standing overheads or it's the reaction time, you're being kind of passive. And the problem is, what's happening is you're seeing there was that, oh, my opponent's doing something dumb, but you're recognizing it too late. So you try to click the button to punish them, but because you recognize too late, you're then just getting counter hit. So that's just something to kind of consider. So here, nice buttons, good pickup. I agree with this. Level 3, you want to finish this Majin Buu off. And I love it. Super dash to God. Jerry was just not expecting that at all. So super duper smart. So now your opponent is pretty far behind at this point. You trade jabs. This super dash was quite questionable. So right here you trade. That's fine. He's within range. You're going to go ahead and trade with the Ki Blast. But he's jumping backwards. And you decide to queue up this 2H. And given his distance, realistically, unless he jumped straight at you or instant air dashed at you, this 2H was never going to connect with anything. So this was a really dangerous option, which didn't make a lot of sense given the positioning on screen. All right, he's going to go ahead and get a small pickup. And now, I like it. You tech off the ground. You're avoiding any sort of, like, shenanigans right away. Nice. So right here, this was just a bit of passive play from you. He gets the first aerial. And I don't like that you're burning your double jump every time. Let me make sure that's actually correct. But I feel like 1-1. Yeah. I would have liked to see you maybe try to start moving forward a little sooner. I felt like you spent too long. Yeah, I feel like you spent too long there because you just gave time for Jerry to kind of back up, realize that you weren't taking space, and then take it himself. And then there, Jerry just dynamically pushes himself out of the corner and challenges. All right, so this is going to be an air-to-air. It's going to hurt. And now he's going to go ahead, keep it optimal, put you in the corner. You're not dead, but it's definitely going to hurt. So at this point, I agree with sparking. Good stuff. And that was a safe sparking too. He's coming down with an overhead. There's basically nothing he can do there unless he does an aerial DP right at the end. But realistically, given where his positioning, that spark was totally safe. So this was good sparking. So you get the pickup right here. Unfortunately, so the Vanish right there was just slightly too late. So Rocket Fist comes out. He's backdashing. And you went empty. You weren't expecting Jerry to actually get hit by this fist. But unfortunately, because he got hit by the fist, you end up getting nothing off of this. I don't fault you. I wouldn't expect my opponent to get hit by that either. But unfortunately, that ends up being the case. So now, nice anti-air. Now, this I disagree with. So you get these first two hits. And then you just go ahead and vanish. You could have gotten a lot more damage out of this, especially because you're still in sparking. It wouldn't have killed, but it would have hurt a lot. So I disagree with this. Also, because you vanished so early, you've gotten rid of your meter gain. Now you could say, oh, well, you're trying to close the game out. But even so, I think if that's your intention, I don't think this was the right line of action. Yeah, especially right afterwards right there. So there, that was a nice cross up. Jerry's going to super jump after. Really good movement. That was super clean, Zid. You can't delay this. So you cross up, you go jab, jab. You cannot delay this anymore after patch. Post patch in August, no, you cannot delay this. That's going to be a pickup, and this is going to be some more damage. Jerry's fortunately going to drop it for you. You weren't dead, but it would have definitely been a little bit worse if he had finished that pickup. So right here, you are just super duper scrambly. So you both jump. Right here, this was a panic Vanish. You're panicking because your sparking's running out and you want to keep pressure, but this Vanish didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you cross up and you throw a button, but at this point, I don't even think Jerry knew where you were in that whole string, and you just didn't hit him. So you're in a clutch situation, and you're panicking, and as a result, you're throwing out options, but you're not getting anything off of it, which is not where you want to be as a player. So right here, he chucks a little bit of plasma. You're going to go for an empty and then try to instant air dash. I don't think you wanted to do that. I think you wanted to probably go ahead. Empty. If you're going to empty Vanish, click a button. If not, oh well. He doesn't have meter to kill, though. Step in. And at this point, Jerry's just being careful because he knows he needs like 1 or 2 key blasts to finish you off. And he's going to just put you in a bad spot until you make a mistake. He was able to go ahead and get the touch. Doesn't finish it. Didn't believe in it. And right there, that was just unfortunate. I don't think you were expecting him to Dragon Rush. If you hadn't Dragon Rushed. If he hadn't Dragon Rushed and you hadn't 2H, one of you would be dead. But that is not how this played out. Right there, this is a panic Vanish from Jerry. He doesn't know exactly what's going on. So he's like, all right, I need to try to get this last hit. Right there, after you saw him vanish, you probably should have vanished as well, instead of just falling to the ground. But now you're in an advantaged position. He's going to come down, and you get too hasty. You get your first 2 hits, and you immediately go for the 2H. If you had just transitioned into mediums and just done a combo, with this amount of health, he was 100% dead. So I disagree with that. This was just end of game, panic, nerves, try to close it out. But as a result, You can see it on your face. Why did I do that? So this wasn't a bad first game, but I definitely don't feel like you have the matchup knowledge needed to combat Majin Buu effectively. You blocked the fat throw setups, mainly because he constantly went same side, but when it came to his other options, specifically heavy punch, you were getting picked up way more than you should have. But that's fine. That's just game one. All right, let's see what we got game two. All right, so last time on round start, you were the aggressor. You decided to press forward, and you got to pick up on him because he decided to instant air dash backwards. What are you thinking? This time, you try to do the same thing. So same round start as last time, but Jerry just doesn't give an inch this time. This time, he just heavy punches you right off start. So right there, he kind of dashes into the corner. You throw down your Goku, but he's already gone. Kupu is not Zidiane. Zidiane is a different player from the Delmarva area. I would say probably a top 10 player. Maybe I'd have to bust out my tier list to kind of figure out where I'd put him. But he asked me to go over some matches, so I figured I would go ahead and do that. But anyways, find your way out of the corner. This is just a really good backdashing and movement from Jerry, abusing Kid Boo's or Fat Boo's heavy punch. This like 100-pound, 500 pounds of tapioca. He steps in, you jump back. And this is, so one of the things that I'm seeing from you, Zid, is I'm seeing passive play. You're letting Jerry control so much space right here. So right here, he dashed all the way across stage, dashes all the way out, jumps, and you're in the corner. Not even close to him. And then he backs up. He wants to retake some space, get some distance. And now he's aggressing again. So all these engagements that are happening on his terms because he's controlling the movement. So I like that you were trying to get out. Unfortunately, Buu is going to find a connection right here. Heavy punch. And this is corner. So that means Majin Buu doesn't even have to spend meter to set up fat throw. So here, the last two mix-ups he's gone for is that he is going instant air dash and jab. Zid has a problem a lot of people do. What would that be, Kupu? I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts. That's not sarcastic. Like, playing too much neutral or not enough. I agree on that. I don't think he's pivoting well. I think he gives up way too much space when he doesn't need to. So right here, he's going to go high. You're going to block it. Very nice. Into the donut. And you're going to get picked up by the 2M. Or 2L. Sorry about that. So 2L. Boo's going to go ahead, do his thing. He's going to drop, though. All right, so you've got a chance right here. And what are you going to do with that chance? So right there, you definitely try to click a button. You just have, because you see the counter come up, and you went for an aerial option. You had to know Fat Boo's options right there. And he opts to EX cartwheel out of the corner. And that's going to be it. Pressure and neutral art blending. Yeah, no, it's one of the most difficult things in the game to try to overcome, honestly. Because you end up in a situation where it's like, you need to pressure your opponent, but you can't just run away from them. This is not a game that rewards that. Even Ginyu, who I would argue is the biggest runaway character in the game, does not just purely run away. He's constantly kiting at about this distance, maybe this distance. But he is never just like over here in the wild blue yonder of space. Like, no. So here, Zid's back on the offensive. So I like this. You're like, okay, I'm behind. He's probably not going to expect an aggressive option. Jerry is going to super dash, super jump backwards, and then he's going to instant air dash backwards. So here, you're going to call your 16, which isn't going to amount to much because it's going to get punched. So, once again, I don't think you're respecting the range of Majin Buu here. Alright, so that was smart. I like this. You take a little bit more space, which I agree with. So right here, this is smart. You're moving yourself in. Your assist's recharging. You're taking space. And now Jerry's kind of in an unfavorable spot right here. And as a result, you get to start a block string. Beautiful stagger. No way he was going to gamble on that one. You haven't done any of this set, so super duper smart pressure. Right there, this was bad timing. One thing that I would really like to see you do more is meaty. I just don't think you meaty enough as a player. Like, this was an option that was going to beat Wake Up Reflect, and if he tried to mash late. But the reason I know this is so delayed is because he had time to get through the startup frames on Vanish and hit you. So, unfortunately, now you're in pressure, and it's your turn to get picked up. And now you've gotten put in the corner against Majin Buu. And you do not want this character putting you in the corner. Couple drops from Jerry. That was just a little bit of slop right there. Nice challenge. So right here, you recognize. So he gets his 2 hits. You jump. He gets jab, jab. But you recognize, see, he super jumps right here. And you recognize that puts him too high up to actually keep the lockdown going. Which means that you get to punish because he actually queued a super jump when he needed to queue a regular jump. So this was smart. I agree. I do feel like that is definitely where Zid is at the moment. So right here, nice couple of step-ins. Into the level 3. Good. You got your base Goku out. You set up corner pressure. Now, you know Jerry is going to spark. Because Jerry is the type of player who always wants to keep his team intact. So 9 out of 10 times, if Jerry can spark to save his first character, he will. So why do you go for this? You know Jerry is going to go ahead. You could block in this situation. I think Wake Up block would have been fine. But I don't know. Maybe this is just too much of a read. But I think you know Jerry well enough as a player that this should be a habit that you understand that he has. And I think you could have challenged more appropriately. But it's not the end of the world. You forced out sparking. He sets it up, goes low, and just like that, you're getting picked up again. So right there, you just need to be a little bit more conscious of your blocking because I feel like you're getting picked up by a lot of just high-low mix-ups. There, he actually goes for the combo instead of trying to do any sort of delay tech setup or whatever. And he just spends the bank. Now, fortunately for you, you survive this. But now you're in a spot where it's like, okay, realistically, you probably need to spark. However, Jerry knew. Jerry knew you were going to spark because you have to spark here. Unless you're a madman. If you're a madman, you can get away without sparking here. But this is the difference. Both of you put your opponent in a situation where you knew they were going to spark. But look what Jerry does. So he dashes in, makes it look like he's going for the overhead. He does a safe jump. And then immediately, what does he do? Cues that DP. So he had this option baited. Now with 16, your anti-sparking options definitely aren't as good. But you still could have gone for like a heavy, tried to get a pickup or whatnot. Or if you backed up, it's possible he wouldn't have sparked, and then he's gambling on the character. So I think in a sparking situation, you can take a few more liberties than you currently are. But it's all right. Base Goku is here to save the day. Right there. This is just movement. So you can see, you instant air dash, but you don't queue up your medium. You queue it up too early. So you're already going in this direction. You need to wait to do it as soon as you can point the stick the other way. Or like on the D-pad, you can point this way and then do the medium. But as a result, Jerry doesn't call that. He's just like, okay, you missed an aerial and just kind of leaves it. But that was a situation where you could have very easily gotten punished. And right there, you pause. I don't dislike the pause in an attempt at Dragon Rush. But Jerry's going to call you out with a super dash. I like this tag right here. Good pivot. Now he's got to set up Ghost. So, all right, so you dealt with Ghost once before. And your option was, I'm going to take the hit on Wake Up. Well, this time, you spend the meter and take the hit. Kaioken does not beat Ghosts. Kaioken will never beat Ghosts. There is nothing that you can do about this unless you're going to call an assist and then go for it. But even then, like, this option is just not going to work. So I very much disagree. Because now you just spent a meter and you got hit. You're going to go ahead. You're going to get picked up low. And the ghosts aren't going to do too much at that point, but they've done their job. They wasted a lot of time. Your spark, you just lost 5 seconds of sparking. Yeah, you lost about 5 to 6 seconds of sparking because you got hit by that Kaioken. You got hit by that ghost by Kaiokenning. That is you gave up over a third of your sparking time gambling on an option that didn't work. It's not a bad thing, but you just need to understand why. That was just janky as hell. I don't blame anyone for getting hit by that. Here, I don't mind the pickup. I think it's fine, but I will say in a 1v3 situation, you may have want to consider taking the snap right there. Predominantly because you can kind of force it into a 1v1-ish scenario by taking the snap. And I don't feel like mid-stage with Goku, you really had the pressure anyway. So you weren't giving up corner pressure to take a snap. So I think that might have been the better option for you in this situation. You try to go, I'm willing to bet you went for that same stagger pressure once again. Which was good the first time, but this time Jerry's seen it and he's going to call you on it. Nice extension. He's got 2 meters, so this should be a dead character. Ghost. Vegeta. Yep. Alright, so at this point you are now down 2 games. The first game, really, really close. You were playing relatively well. Your neutral was a little bit off. This game, you played a lot more scared. Until you got down to your Goku, and then all of your patience just kind of went out the window, and now you're just getting blown up left and right. So you've got one more game here. You got one more game to adjust. Let's see what you got. All right. So the last 2 game starts, you've taken an aggressive option off start. What are we going to see this time? So here, you're going to throw out some flutter kicks. He's going to go ahead and, once again, here comes that heavy punch. Boom. Now, you didn't really lose that much on this trade, but he has been abusing this heavy punch, and you're just setting him up with opportunities to get those hits. So there we go. He actually jabs out your assist right there, which is really smart. So he's going to jump in. I like that. That was really smart. You got your charge in. This toss was a bit aggressive. I don't think that was the spot where you were really looking for it. Because most of the time, what is Majin Buu going to toss out here that's going to let you beat this? Unless he starts jabbing or super dashes, this isn't actually going to hit. It just doesn't make sense for him to pick an option that's going to lose to Spirit Ball. And now you've given up those Spirit Ball charges, which I thought you had a good setup for getting. So right here, Jerry's going to jump in. You get a touch. Nice. He down tech buttons, and you backdash. So right here, you've kind of put yourself in the corner, but it's time to fight back. So I like this. You go for a charge, and you recognize the tag. Very nice. Now he's in the corner. So you've got the drop right here. You jump up. You've called your 16. You've got him in lock. Very, very nice. And look at that. You bait the reflect. You get the pickup. Clean stuff, Sid. Right here, though, once again. You go ahead to throw your Spirit Ball. What was he going to go for here? You've backdashed. Unless he decides to like get up here with buttons, he's not going to get hit. And now you've kind of lost pressure, and you're also letting him unlock his assist timers. So you kind of just wasted time there. And he's going to go ahead and tag right here, which I think is fine. Nice little backdash. He gets the Vengeful Shout. Now, I don't normally complain about hitboxes, but Gotenks' falling heavy just bothers me on a fundamental level. Hold on. Let me find the frame. I don't know in what world this child who has a hitbox the size of their body, like, this is okay. I don't know why this just fundamentally bothers me about the character. I really feel like this hitbox should probably be smaller. Because, I mean, he's down backing over here and gets picked up. Also, he's aerial and you're just down backing. And you weren't leading into a 2H, so I'm not sure what you were doing here. All right, but you get picked up. Not the end of the world. But you see right here, he's going to go ahead and bring in the 16. This is a smart decision. Gotenks kind of fucks up 16 in the corner. 16 is such a big character, so right here with these mock punches, it makes your life a living hell as 16. Because you don't know whether or not it's going to be 2 or 3 mock punches, and they can easily transition into lows. So right there, you're doing a good job. You're holding it. He doesn't have meter right here. Spends the Beyblade. Solid defense. Now right there, if you blinked, you missed it. This was actually a stagger string. So right here, he's putting on the pressure, putting on the pressure. He pauses for a second. Boom. He gets his assist for charging. But anyway, you find your way out of the corner. You're looking good, but as soon as you get out, you get dragged back in. This, I don't blame you for getting hit by this. Most people in chat would have 100% been open up by this. That was just really smart. He actually uses the backwards hitbox on the overhead to get the pickup too. That's just demon. That's brutal. Great pickup here. And now he's going to have access, so he's going to be able to set up the fat throw. Get his restand. Nice reflect. So one thing I will say, you have been doing an excellent job of stopping these fat throw setups. What's up, Kupu? Did I misspeak about something? My blocking is the best. I don't know about that, my man. Everyone, I feel like there could be some defense lessons. So nice tag right there. You get a single hit. Decent pressure. This was a bold move right here. So you get the first hit, which I like, right? You miss your low, so now you're at a neutral setup. You get your jab, You don't even set up plus frames or anything. You just go for the wind-up punch. You have no assist to back you up here. I like the idea because it was going to let your assist recharge, but you kind of called it when you have no resources, and now Majin Buu just gets to hit you for free. So I feel like that was not quite the best move right there. Yeah. You have 6 bars and you didn't set up plus frames. I kind of disagree with that. So that, nice block. That was actually some really good defense, Sid. Really like that. Standing overhead. You gotta block it. It sucks. It's Majin Buu exclusive, but it is one hell of a button. So here, you're currently sitting on 7 bars. He's going to go ahead, set up the fat throw. Nice defense, once again. Like, you are very much handling all of these fat throws, which is normally the hard part of Majin Buu. But your neutral is what's betraying you here. Great cross-up. A little bit off on your timing right there. Not much you could really do. And that was just a big old DP. So this was just a scrambly situation. So Jerry jumps in. You actually get the hit right here. But you drop it. He down techs buttons, gets the hit, and then drops it. Then you jump back and then get picked up. This was a little bit of a clown fiesta right here. Honestly, could have cut either way. So I'm not going to fault you guys too much. Those scramble type situations just happen. But once again, but as you go into this next character, you're sitting on 7 bars. And you've barely spent anything. I understand you want this for damage, but don't be afraid to throw out some smart vanishes to extend your pressure. I feel like that's something that you could really stand to do just a little bit more in your gameplay. So here he jumps back, you step forward, and you get picked up by a couple of key blasts. Nothing too bad happens though. You challenge this key blast, very smart, and you get some corner pressure. Now, yep, 100%, cash 3 bars. You steal the corner, which was good. And he's just going to read. He's going to read this Dragon Rush. Hits you with the Super Dash. All right. So this is going to be the third time you've had Ghost Oki set up on you. First time, you got hit. Second time, you got hit. Third time. I like this Reflect, but this is for the wrong type of Ghost. So that Reflect is really good when they're actually all directly on top of you. And at 16, you can Reflect and clear them all. Here, you Reflect the first Ghost. Now you're sort of out of pressure, but you're still kind of trapped. So it's not bad. But there's also not too much you really could have done here. And there, he just catches you low. It's going to drop, but he's going to find the pickup. Not the cleanest pickup ever, but you know what? It sealed out the character. All right, so here, you're down one apiece. Once again, you go for this 2M starter, and you try to stagger it, and then restart the combo. And it worked the first time, and it was really good in game 1, but you have tried this now 2 more times, and both times it's gotten blown up. So that's something I really think you need to consider. Stagger pressure is great, but your opponent can't know it's coming, or it does not work. So nice pickups. He actually side switches here, which is kind of interesting. Go ahead, throw it out. So he set up Ghost again. So he drags you to the ground, and this was a great tick throw. Right there, that's just one of those things I have to go, you should tech, but, you know, most people would not tech that. And now he's got 6 bars in the back. Cash out. Majin Buu, get himself a snack, and that's going to be the set. So, stagger pressure is 100% about conditioning. You need to force your opponent to respect you. If your opponent does not respect you, stagger pressure is one of the quickest ways to get blown up. Jerry did not show respect this set. This whole set, he constantly was laying on pressure and just generally did not respect Zid's options. It's like right there, just DPs out raw. He still had access to 16. He could have backdashed a number of things, but it wasn't just here. It was just in general. The movement in the set, Jerry was constantly dictating the pace of the match. So the big thing, Zid, that I would really try to focus on if I were you, at the level you're at, 1, you have to condition your opponent if you want to use stagger pressure. So you must. This is super important. You don't have to. If you're playing against really good players, sometimes you can kind of get away with it. But 1, you must condition your opponent to use stagger pressure. Do not be using the same stagger over and over again. If your opponent gets freed up the second time you do it, then you go, okay, I'm going to keep doing it till they don't. That's fine. But high-level players are going to notice that you have a setup. And if they're worth their salt, they're going to counter it. And then otherwise, you're just going to kind of keep running it into it over and over. So 1, you must condition your opponent to use stagger pressure. 2, you play either too much neutral or no neutral at all. So a bit about this is essentially what's going on is you are not controlling the pace of the match at all. So your opponent in a lot of these situations is going ahead. Oh, don't give me this. All right, cool. Your opponent is controlling all of the movement. So whatever, fat throw. Let me find some neutral situations. I know there was definitely some with cooler. I think this was the only one. Ba-ba. He gets out of the corner, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was just bad buttons. Another habit is you hold down back too much. So this isn't like a terrible habit, but at high level play, your opponent's going to pick up on it pretty quickly. You down back a lot when your opponent is aerial. Yo, what's up, Straw Hat? Good to see you, my man. But yeah, you down back a lot when your opponent is aerial, and you get picked up by a lot of overheads. Jerry hits you with a lot of overheads this set, including standing ones for Majin Buu. And down backing is not a bad thing, but you need to stand block more. Especially when your opponent is aerial, there's no reason to just be holding down back. You're not going to get picked up by a low. The only exception I would say is maybe Adult Gohan if you're crazy and you're like, what if he fast falls and jabs me? Fine. Beyond that, though, I really don't like that habit out of you. So in terms of neutral, right? So part of what I was trying to break down with this, Back finally learned how to play and use Goku better. Learned the bread and butter combo that brings you to max height and you can hit 2 Kamehamehas. Hey, yo, Straw Hat. That is actually some serious work for one day. Good stuff, my man. With Goku, one of the biggest things that I would try to learn if I were you, learn his more optimal... Well, okay, so you already got his optimal combo routes. Stuff that also... Learn his block strings. So, Straw Hat, what I would do next is I would start practicing block strings with Goku. That's a good place to start with that character. Mainly because his pressure is pretty simple, but he still mixes people up a lot. So you can actually practice stagger pressure with him, which is actually pretty good. So that's probably the next thing I would focus on if I were you. Also, what other 2 characters did you end up going with? I'm happy you went with Goku, though. I think that's going to be a good starting point. But jumping back to Zid for a second. One of the issues you have is that your opponent is constantly the one who is choosing when to disengage and when to initiate. If my opponent just kind of like runs away from me, then okay, fine. I'm just going to decide when we go in. The keep away in this game is not that good. So you kind of end up in these situations where you're constantly... You don't know how to pressure, though? Okay, so the basic Goku block string. Use Goku, Goku Black, and Vegeta. The basic Goku block string is just L, L, 2M, M. I think you can do H into Heavy Punch into, what is that, 2, 3, 6... If you do 2, 3, 6 H, it's plus if they're in the air. You could also mix in a Ki Blast in the middle of all of that. Put in like an S. I don't know. You could also, so what you should practice right now, set the training bot. Here, I'll show you real quick what to do. So real quick, go ahead, just go into training. Go to the enemy. So this will help you practice doing true block strings. And just go ahead and set them to guard all. And set them to reflect. See, so what happens is now you're going to get a feeling for like, oh, okay, if I do this and they reflect, that means my block string's not true. Oh, actually, I have Super Saiyan Goku in right now. Yo, let's go. If you go for the punch at the end, they can reflect it. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. So what I would practice if I were you, if you're just new to the game, is just practice doing the first part of this block string. And if they reflect it, that means that you left a gap where your opponent can escape. Now, having gaps in your pressure is not a bad thing, but what it does mean, unfortunately, or fortunately, is that you need to cover it. Otherwise, your opponent can select options to get out of it. And that's kind of the basics of pressure. So, kind of back to this. So one of the big problems that Zid ends up having is because he doesn't engage, he ends up kind of throwing out these odd buttons, and he also doesn't move around the stage as well as he could. And he ends up playing neutral very intensely half the time. And the other half of the time, he's not committing to anything, which is just not where you want to be. You want to constantly be hovering about a quarter stage from your opponent where you can be safe from their buttons, but your buttons are going to be impactful. And that's the biggest thing. Neutral, you are playing neutral at your best when your opponent is in range of you, but you are not in range of your opponent. That's not always possible, but you know your character, or should know your character, and should know what their effective range is going to be and occupy that space. 16's effective range is not full stage. It's just not the case. So if you're playing 16 and you constantly find yourself sitting full stage throwing rocket punches at your opponent, odds are you're probably not maximizing the utility you could be getting out of that character. So that's kind of my long and short take, but really good stuff.